Hello and welcome to another episode of the Gritty Hour. I'm here with the venerable Sean E. Boyd.
What's
How
up,
are you,
T?
Shawnee? All right, what's going on?
Not much, man. How are you?
All right, I'm sitting here in the podcast room again. If anybody watched last week's podcast, had to relocate due to technical problems, and Sean beat me down, and I bought a booster. So right now I show all the bars you can have on my Wi-Fi connection. So it seems like
Nice.
it's working so far, so good. The best that China can make.
The
So,
5 bar flush.
yeah. So how was your birthday? You had your birthday last week.
Yeah, birthday was good. Let's see. It was Sunday. The Jets played in London at 9:30 in the morning. So I woke up early, watched the Jet game. They lost. They're in the rebuilding stage, so whatever. And then I just chilled out during
What's
the
their
day.
record?
And then they were 1-4, but they got a brand new quarterback, brand new coach. So like they're in the let's just try to win 5 or 6 games kind of season.
Yeah. I think I'm cheating on my boycott because I get all my information through you.
You do. You do.
What's their record? Sean, what's their record?
Man? What are they running? What kind of offense they have?
It's like I clandestinely followed the Mets through you this year.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you can call it a full blown out boycott.
That's okay. That's okay. Listen,
Yeah.
it's okay to get a little juice every once in a while from the source.
So you watched the Jets over there in London, and your family came over for your birthday, or you went over there for your birthday?
I met them at my brother's house, and I get it's like a 5:30 text. Hey, listen, games are my nephew plays soccer too. He's like, the games are running late. Listen, we're just gonna do takeout. I was like, oh. Which honestly is totally fine. Like we all just hung out, but I'm now at a point in my life where like my birthday is it's takeout level.
It's you got demoted. You just don't know it, but you got demoted.
Yeah. It's cool.
Well, this is what happens when you turn 43. It's not like turning 50 or 30 or whatever. 21. 43 is like you do takeout.
Yeah, it's like, wait, you again?
I don't know if my card's gonna get there in time. That kind of thing. 43.
Yeah. But that's what we were talking about. Like I think last week was like the 20s, 30. The perfect number is like a big birthday. It's just like you're entering a new.
You got to
decade.
get around. You got to get a round figure number.
Yeah.
So
43. That's a. Let me be honest. 43 is an ugly number in the number system.
Yeah,
that's an ugly number. But anyway.
43.
Yeah.
45. Maybe they'll take you to a In-N-Out burger or something. But
right. You want to get some apps? Yeah, I'll get some apps.
Amazon gift card. Warms the cockles. Yes.
By the way, I have it. You and my aunt, your sister, you guys got me a gift. So I thank you for the gift. I appreciate that.
Oh, you're quite welcome. I don't know what the hell it was, but I'm sure I put my heart and soul into it.
I figured that. I mean, your name was on the card. Your name was. It was signed.
Yeah. Well, I it's funny. We were talking about you today in the store during business hours. Hold on, I got to put my ambrosia on.
Yeah. But you and my aunt were talking about me?
Essence of Niagara Falls. No, a couple of people in the store, and we're just talking about you behind your back. That's all.
Oh,
big
Jesus.
deal.
Here we go. All right, the downfall of Shorty Boy.
Oh no, I remember what we were talking about. Remember previous podcast we had Joyce Heaton on. She was talking about the jewelry.
Yeah,
it was. She's very nice lady and very. It was very interesting to learn all about the jewelry, and she knows a heck of a lot about it. But she had made a comment. We were talking about that podcast. I'll tell you what happened. Our social media person who does our social media, Michelle, posted our podcast in 2 parts on Joyce's J.E. Heaton Jewelers Instagram page. So that's how the initial conversation came up. So Joyce made the comment, I hope I can get Sean E. Boy as a customer one of these days. I said, well, he just broke up with his girlfriend. This is a long. This is a. I could have told this story a hell of a lot shorter than I'm
That's
telling
all
it.
right. That's all right.
Yeah, but I said I think the real reason he broke up with his girlfriend was because of the shitty gifts I gave her every Christmas.
That's what you said.
I did.
Yeah,
I said, well, when he hooks up with his next girlfriend, he's going to have to impress, and I'm sure he'll be by to
yeah.
bling her,
All right. I want.
get some
I want.
bling into the
Yeah.
relationship.
I
Yeah,
want some of that sapphire. That's what I want.
yeah. There you go. So
Did she? Did
that's how we were talking about you today. Nothing bad.
okay. Yeah. No, that's fine. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Did she enjoy the podcast? Did she actually enjoy the? Did she watch it or listen to it or whatever?
Joyce.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure
Yeah. Shot
she had a
baby.
she had a well, a lot of people have downloaded that on whatever Spotify or Apple or something.
Yeah.
A couple of dozen people have watched it, but she had a really good reaction to it on her Instagram page. And I feel like we got gypped because we don't get that as credited viewers or listeners.
Yeah. You know what though? Like that. Maybe that will. Get a couple more people into the listening realm. So
Yeah. I forgot to ask you, am I coming in 5x5 with this newfangled technology?
what the hell does that mean?
Am I coming in loud and clear?
I think the audio is fantastic at Zencaster.
You think it's better than Zoom? You mentioned that
Yeah,
last
big
week.
time, big time.
And what about the video?
Uh, I mean, it seems the same.
Yeah.
But when I watched it on YouTube last week, the videos were great. Like I saw you both of us pretty very clear. So I don't know if it's just maybe it is my computer. I don't know. Yeah,
Well, the other reason I ask you is I'm hearing you. Uh, those of us who were in the trenches in D-Day would know this term. I'm hearing you 5x5, but you're coming in a little blurry. The video.
yeah, you too. So I think maybe that's how it is with Zencaster. I don't know.
I really have no idea. Maybe it'll be a blurry one.
But it wasn't blurry. It was a little blurry last week too, but it wasn't blurry on the finished product.
Oh, okay. So maybe
That's what.
that's
Yeah.
how
That's
it
so
rolls.
like we had a little bit of delay when we were talking to each other last week. But then when I watched it on YouTube, unless you edited those parts out, there was no delays.
Hmm. I also noticed Zencaster slaps their sticker on the video. I guess
Yeah.
until
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
actually
Yeah. Yeah.
they're on our probation list. We haven't committed to them financially yet.
Yeah. 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 Um.
So if but however many we get on this trial thing that they have, if it seems fairly okay, we'll buy the license to it.
Yeah. We got. You got. It's like when you first get to a restaurant, you want to read the whole menu, you want to test it out, you want to try a couple
Yeah.
of things.
That light behind you, is that specifically for the gritty hour guy?
We talked about that. That's the salt lamp light.
Yeah, I know. But I mean, do you light it only during the podcasts?
No, I if you,
So
if
your
you want,
neighbors know, shh,
yeah,
Sean's doing the podcast.
yeah, it's like the 1880s lantern as they walk by the pub.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Two
no,
if I
yeah,
see.
I light it at that level because you can like dim it and brighten it. I light it at that level so it helps kind of rock the gritty hour poster because
Rock the
I
gritty hour guy. Yeah,
my podcast setup like behind me I don't have like unless they drop down from the ceiling a fucking banner like it's hard for me to.
yeah. So I want to talk about something that we touched on very briefly last week, which is the we had done a podcast a couple of maybe a month or so ago about the social dilemma, the thing that was on
Mhm.
um, what the hell's the name of that, Netflix.
Yep.
That documentary, which was I thought a phenomenal documentary, but it just so happened that Facebook, well, there was a whistleblower that testified before Congress um, about Facebook and the internal record keeping that they do.
Yes, I'm
Trying to
following.
remember her name, huh?
It's Francis
Francis Hogan.
Yeah, Horgan. Yeah.
Hogan. I happened to catch a couple of the. I happened to catch a little bit of her testimony, and I was also blown away by It's like everything you would have suspected Facebook would be doing. They seem to
Yeah.
be doing. They had reports that it damages people, but they hid the reports.
Yes.
And
Yes. I also did due diligent research. So yeah, I'm following you.
yeah, and apparently there was you did due diligence.
I did. I actually did some
That's not how
research
we
from.
roll here. We talk out of our ass.
Yeah, I know, but I did some research from both perspectives, actually. But God,
Yeah. And what did you find? Well, all I was going to say was whatever controls they put on during the election, they took them off because the revenue was down or something to that effect.
yeah, like so, what I read was what's interesting about her, and since her, there's another. I want to say this because I'm going to end up forgetting to say it later. There's another Facebook former employee that's now coming out saying she has information that says that Facebook is,
Yeah, I heard about that yesterday. Apparently, there's
yeah,
another whistleblower in the pipeline.
yeah, but that one was in the New York Post, so I'm going to pause on that one. You don't know if that's,
It's funny you
um,
mentioned the Post. I was going to mention the Post.
yeah,
Um,
um,
as you
but this,
recall, go ahead. I don't want to jump to that, but go ahead. I'll get to
yeah,
that.
the Frances Haugen or Hogan, however you say her
Hmm.
name. She
Yeah.
the thing that stood out to me after all this because we could talk about like what I'm looking at my notes right now. We could talk about what um the effects of it a little bit later. But she has 1,000 downloaded documents to like supposedly to prove it, and that's what made like that's what has my attention. It's like oh, it's not she's just not verbally saying this is this. She's like, I've had, yeah, and she may get in trouble for leaking it to the press. Like the Facebook may be able to sue her for that. Um, but besides that, she's given it to lawmakers and she's pleaded her case to the Senate with real like substantial evidence. Now I haven't seen the evidence, so I don't know exactly what exactly what it's saying, but that's the part where I'm like, okay, this seems pretty legit. You
Yeah.
know.
Well, what part of it struck you?
Um, well, the part that kind of hit home for me as just being an educator, I'll read off a couple of stats I wrote down. It was mainly like 13-year-old girls, and I teach eighth grade, which is 13 to 14-year-old girls. Um, Instagram impact on children. Uh, this is a Facebook study
Right.
that got leaked out.
Internal. Right. Hmm.
Yeah, 13.5% of teenage girls in the United Kingdom have suicidal thoughts after being on Instagram.
In the UK,
Yeah. So I mean, just that alone, right?
it wasn't. It
32.
wasn't. It wasn't the threat of the Jets going there to lose.
No,
Okay.
32% of teenage girls who are like feel negative about their bodies said they feel worse after looking at Instagram or Facebook.
Hmm.
So I mean, the article I
I'm
read,
just curious if if you did a little due diligence. I'm curious as to what makes them feel bad about themselves.
the article didn't get like it
Like,
just
what is the
touched on it.
content that's making them feel bad about themselves?
They
Like comparing
all they
themselves to
said
Nick
was
Minaj or something.
yeah, all they didn't give examples, and the website I did was npr.org was like kind of like a pro her point of view, and then I did the Guardian from his point of view. I try to get two different sources, but um, they
I'm
didn't like.
curious as to why one is pro Facebook and one is pro Facebook whistleblower.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't go that deep, but
It doesn't sound
um,
like it would be a political item. This thing we're talking about.
yeah. But the just to answer your question about um like what is really happening online, like they didn't pinpoint in the article I read. They just said it was like uh hate um or what's the word? I can't remember the word. Like addictive product was a term they used.
That
So
goes back to that endorphins they were talking about in
yeah,
the social dilemma,
yeah. But I
which
would guess that
encompassed way more than Facebook and Instagram. That particular documentary. But go ahead.
yes, yeah, yeah. No, but so it was just interesting that when you read all this stuff and you're just like it's crazy. The app requires right. This is the one that I found interesting. Under Facebook intentionally targets children under 13. That's like what the fight is about. one
See,
of
I
the
thought
sites.
the origins or the reason they did this internal research was they were planning to come out with Instagram for kids.
Maybe.
That was the thing that propelled them to do these reports. That's been on the that's been put on hold due to congressional pressure. But you got to keep in mind uh, these places like Google and Facebook and Instagram is part of Facebook, but all of these big internet companies, every hallway is filled with their lobbyists in Congress.
Yes, of
You know,
course. Yeah. Yeah.
they walk down they walk down the hallway throwing money at this, that, and the other thing.
Think about what you do, like what you just said. They're trying to create an Instagram for kids that are like 7, 8, 9. Like, why? Why would you
Hmm.
do that?
I don't know because it's additional ad revenue.
Yes. So, I mean, at the end of the day, I could spit out all these numbers, and I do,
I get a
but like
sneaky suspicion that a lot of people under 13 are on that friggin' thing anyway.
they are, and like the app is for anyone under 13. Isn't supposed to be shouldn't be signed up to the app
Right.
technically. I mean, obviously, like you could. I'm home. I'm 12. I jump like who the hell knows that I'm 12? That you could make it up. Like like, kids make it up all the time.
Yeah. Hold
Um,
on one second. So yeah, I'm sorry. So you were saying?
um, no, the after like all the kid stuff, like really like what she's arguing is like she said she could prove that Facebook is generating hate, divisiveness, and misinformation. Like that's the overall thing is that what she's really saying. And
Right.
then she has the legal documents or stolen documents or whatever you want to call them documents to help prove it and back it up.
Now
You know?
is she saying that they? I think it's pretty common knowledge that a lot of divisiveness is on Facebook. Especially politics. And I guess the real question is Facebook uh, just not doing enough to curb that, or are they intentionally doing that? I mean, there's a
Well,
difference, right?
so and then he says these are all quotes from the Guardian. Like it's illogical that we would be pushing negative content because ad people don't want to have their ads next to like negative content.
When you say
So
he,
like
you
what?
mean Zuckerberg?
Yeah, yeah. Mark Zuckerberg. Yeah. Uh, the one of the things that of all the internet companies, they have like the biggest researches to fight against hate information online.
Hmm.
But because there's shortage of staff, it's hard to get it all done. That's what he said.
Well, I
Yeah.
know from watching that documentary, and I did learn a lot from that. Um, the main focus is they want you on there for as long as you possibly can, and to
Hmm.
keep coming back there as often as they possibly can get you to do that.
Yeah. Makes sense,
So
right?
my question is, with all the divisiveness and hate spewed on there, does that make people come back more? You know, does that make them stay online on the site more?
I think for
You
some
know,
people, yeah. I would, I
Mhm.
like, I just realized I just put all my notes away. Like, I don't need my notes. It's too much. Yeah, like, yeah. I tried it. I tried to be researchable. We're good. We're gonna go back to the way we did. Um, uh,
You felt uncomfortable with facts. I
yeah.
understand.
I mean, it's good to know a couple of things, but I'm like, what am I? This ain't my homework. Um, I think certain people like to watch a car accident
Hmm.
as it's happening, right? Like
Yeah,
you're driving around the city, so there's a major accident, everyone stops and looks.
yeah, rubbernecking they call it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But the reality is like I think some people love to go online and live in that negative space. I don't think everyone does. I don't. I'm sure you
Yeah,
don't.
well, the reason why I'm asking you all this because you specifically checked out of the social media world for the most part. I mean, you use your cell phone, but you don't really go on Facebook anymore, or I don't even know if you ever went on Twitter or Instagram.
No, I never did Twitter. I don't have those accounts. Like I said, I use YouTube, but I use it for video watching. I'm not like following people or chatting with people or making comments on YouTube. It's just whether that's being in social media or not. I guess it is. If say, but no, like to actually post and interact with people and be a part of like that, like a back and forth world. No, I don't do that.
Hmm. There's another contention among right wing groups that places like Twitter and Facebook and Instagram, if they're going to edit anything, which goes to the other conundrum I was talking about, that law that gives them a pass on being publishers if they're editing somebody's content, not somebody else's.
Yeah,
Um, it makes me wonder if that's true or not. Uh, whether they're negating a certain type of speech and calling it hate speech, but not a certain other kind of speech and calling it hate speech.
like
In
picking and
fact, there was
choosing.
a yeah, picking and choosing what
Yeah,
they're you know. Um, I can't find it on the internet because neither one of us are good at this. We've said many times
I
on this
tried. I
podcast.
tried today, T. I,
We've said many times on this podcast. This is
yeah.
not a podcast for people
Ready?
to learn anything
Fuck
on.
it.
This is not a podcast where you learn something.
Yeah.
But no, there was a an article, and I can't remember where the hell I saw it. It might have been the Post. I don't know if that's how much credence you put behind it or don't, whatever. About Twitter accounts that are still active
Mhm.
that are proven to be incorrect information, specifically like accounts of supposed world leaders. And they banned, like President Trump, they banned this, that, and the other thing. In fact, they banned the Post for coming out with Hunter Biden stories during the election cycle last year.
Yeah. So it sounds like they're picking and choosing what they believe in to keep and not keep.
Well, I'm not sure. I don't have any way to
Yeah.
prove it, but I'm
Yeah.
just saying there's a lot of right wing groups, right wing people who feel that those big social media organizations uh, up using their ban tool in favor of more left leaning or progressive viewpoints over conservative or right leaning viewpoints.
Yeah.
And it was kind of a contrast. And like the way you said the New York Post before makes me think you don't put a lot of credence in it. But I'm pretty sure that's where I saw the article. Like one was like the head of the Taliban or the head of somebody over there saying something about the Jews, and they still have an active account. You know,
Yeah.
it's just I'm going to get to the bottom line. I think they should not be exempt under um, that law I was talking about, the internet law.
There's two laws. The one you're talking about, and do you know that right now any social media company can't get sued for anything that's posted? They're not
Yes,
responsible.
it's called Section 230.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, Section 230 of the internet law is the one that gives protections to companies like Facebook and their Instagram arm and Twitter
Yeah.
and a lot Google, a lot of other huge internet companies. It gives them exemption um, from being sued.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. That's I read the same thing today. Yeah. Yeah. Which is
And my point of view, I'm not sure if they're leaning left leaning, or I don't really care where they're leaning. But my point of view is if they're deleting someone's account for abrasive or hateful speech, and not deleting others that anybody with common sense would see that it was also divisive and hateful speech, then they become a publisher. You see,
yeah.
they're no longer just a platform for your point of view. They're a publisher deciding whether your point of view is able to be out there on their platform.
Yeah. They're curbing certain things,
Yeah,
and
and that to me they shouldn't have this 230 Section 230 protection, and they should be getting sued right out of business.
Well, the senator of Tennessee is trying to fight it. I forget her name, something
Yeah,
Blackburn or something.
but again, it's they have lobbyists. They have more money than
Oh,
most countries do,
it's
and they have lobbyists in every toilet stall and in every hallway in Congress. So
there's one stat that like I don't even need my notes. Every month, this is I didn't really realize this is how big they are. Every month, remember they're Facebook, Instagram, and their WhatsApp. You know WhatsApp?
yeah, what's that?
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know
it's
what
all
I don't know what it's about, but I know
it's
heard of it.
like a different way of texting and whatever.
Oh, it's like, yeah, it's like a WeChat thing, which
Yeah,
is
yeah,
the
yeah.
biggest chat thing in China.
So those three, and maybe there's more. They have 3.5 billion users a month. A
Yeah,
month.
right. Think of their ad revenue
What the?
when you consider
That's half the world
yeah,
a month.
when you consider you can't say the F word on television, but you can read it 48 million times a day on Facebook.
Can you curse on Facebook? I don't even know.
I've seen it. I was hurt by it. FUCK.
I got emotional. It was like
No, I see that word all the time. I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
I'm
Maybe
sure
they
I've said that
delete it
word a
if you
lot.
maybe they delete it if you use it,
Yeah, I don't know. I
yeah.
never really got
But think of the ad revenue. I mean, they probably what did you say? 3 point how many billion
3.5 billion users a month.
users? So that's individual people.
Yeah,
It's not 3.5 billion
but
visits a month.
still, but still, like like just the traffic of that is insane.
Well, that's like half the world's population. Is why I'm
Yeah,
asking. Is
it's
it 3.6 visits a month or three point
I no.
six
It said 3.5 billion users.
users? Okay, so
So I don't know if like that means 3.5 billion. Like if I go through every day, that's I'm counted as 30. I don't know. Yeah. But even so, the point is that obviously it's a lot, and
I
um,
wonder how big it is in China. I'm just curious.
I don't know.
Hmm.
I don't know. But they China's is they're
I'm
the
not even
TikTok.
sure it's allowed to be on in China. I know Google had a problem getting into China.
Yeah, China's got the lockdown on what happens on the internet for sure.
Yeah.
But it's what's dangerous, and this is like um, if a powerful place like Facebook is curbing speech, that's a Pandora's box that's dangerous. That's a dangerous place to be in. Because like it's if you keep allowing it, it's not going to slow down. It's going to get worse.
Well, I hope somebody takes the bull by the horns over there in Congress.
Yeah. That's why the
But
whistleblower lady, whether like it's important for people to do stuff like this because whistleblowers, as much as maybe they name gets kind of run through the mud a little bit or whatever. Like people like that are
I haven't
important.
seen any. I haven't seen a lot of backlash about her.
Yeah,
Um,
you know, but like it's
yeah.
important. Like whether she gets anything done or maybe her story is half-assed, it's important to have people like that because you pause and think. You're like, whoa, what's happening?
Yeah, I
What's
don't. But one thing I don't know, which I don't know if anybody knows, is um, what her motivation for coming forward is. Is it just honorable?
she
Is it an
was
honorable?
she was a data scientist, which that was the first time I ever heard that. I'm like, wow, like there's scientists that do data. Like I didn't realize there was a science to it, but yeah, I
Sure.
guess it makes sense. But so I don't know. I don't know like if she's onto greater and bigger things, but it
No,
sounds
I'm
like
sure. I don't want to disparage. I'm just saying. I haven't heard anybody disparage her motivation. It
no,
could be for the
what I
most
found,
purest
I
of
found the same.
intentions. Yeah,
Yeah, but as the story unfolds, we'll find out more.
yeah.
You know,
Sean, I got to tell you, you're coming in blurry. I don't know if it's this goddamn thing or not.
yeah, you are too.
That's good.
Just I'm actually I'm not even really paying attention. Like I'm more just listening to you.
Yeah.
Like I'm
Well,
not trying to.
this might be one of those podcasts where the gritty hour guy shows up
Yeah,
and you
yeah,
just
yeah,
hear
yeah, yeah.
us.
That's okay. We'll find out.
Well, actually, I can hear you pretty
Yeah.
well. So,
Yeah, the audio is great.
And
The
here I am
Mark,
wearing it. In case we didn't, in case the video is not acceptable to put on YouTube, I want everybody to know I'm wearing a full tuxedo tonight.
yeah, yeah. Um, the the alarming thing, because I don't know if we're kind of done with this topic or not, but I'll say this:
We're
she
not
said
done
something.
until Shawnee Boy says we're done. You hear
There
me?
we go. There we
All right.
go. She said, in reality, nobody really knows what's going on in Facebook. There's no, like in the Wall Street, you have the SEC. You have regulations.
Yeah,
You know,
there's no
there's
governing authority.
Yeah, so it's
There's no federal governing authority. I think what she was intimating is the left hand doesn't know what the right hand's doing within the organization.
yes, and knowing enough about history is if you allow one entity to run wild, it usually means they're going to be corrupt and greedy. you know.
It won't be the end of the world, and it won't even be the end of Facebook if they implement or take away their 230 section 230 protection.
Yeah, take away that, and
Plus,
like,
to me, it's an antitrust situation.
yeah,
Also,
yeah, it is, it is,
they were jealous of Instagram. Instagram was growing, so they bought it.
yeah.
They didn't compete against it; they bought it.
Move on.
You know. Now you just turned 43, which makes you too young to remember when this country had one phone company.
Yeah, Bell Atlantic, right?
What AT&T
Yeah,
was the phone company in the United States. So, and they were broken up on an antitrust suit. It was an antitrust laws is what forced them to break up into seven individual companies. And I don't know what the hell they are now, but now it's mostly cell phone usage more than landline usage. AT&T is still around.
yeah, is
It's
it?
just
Yeah,
that, but there was a time in my lifetime when there was one phone company, AT&T. I see the same thing with the help of God, the same thing happening with these behemoths like Facebook
yeah.
and
It's
Instagram.
a, it's. I mean,
And,
well,
and the end user, which is you and I, or potentially you and I, the end user, it shouldn't, it should be seamless if they break up. But they are too big.
yeah, they're too big, but yeah, and the thing is that majority of people, maybe not majority, but I think it's the majority of people love to use it, and like that's the catch, right?
Well, this is my point. When AT&T broke up, that doesn't mean nobody could make a phone call anymore.
Yeah, yeah,
You know what I'm saying? But Facebook. First of all, it was just the latest iteration. I mean, I'm old enough to remember Friendster, AOL,
MySpace.
MySpace,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Prodigy. These were all uh, happened way before Facebook. So they did on Facebook essentially what you were doing on the other ones, except it became hip. They did it better. It became hip, so to speak.
yeah,
But they monetized themselves fast enough to buy out a lot of the competition, like Instagram. You know,
yeah. Which is, that's the definition of a monopoly, right? When you just
yeah.
sort of
Same holds true with the same story holds true with Google as an example.
yeah. Google is another one. It's
There was Yahoo was the biggest one at one time. Yahoo, I'm talking about for search engines. You know, but Google monetized themselves quick enough to buy YouTube. They making so much money. They Why come out with a video element? We'll just buy YouTube.
yeah, and
So I don't even think most people. Well, I'm sure most people do know, but a lot of people I'm thinking don't even know that Google owns YouTube. And I think before this whistleblower, and maybe even still now, post this whistleblower, people didn't even realize Facebook owned Instagram.
yeah, and
I don't know who owns TikTok, but
that's a Chinese company. I don't know if it's a separate thing, but
yeah, that makes me nervous too. You know,
yeah. So the the biggest thing I took away from what I was reading today was the algorithm. Like the algorithm, they in 2018, whatever. I don't know enough about algorithms, but the algorithm changed on Facebook, where it used to be that you would scroll through a Facebook thread, and you would get um, all your friends would pop up and all that stuff,
Hmm.
you know, and like whatever. But now after 18, it's the most liked and like shared content is what you're gonna see. So if like
Right, but you
hate,
might not see what your uncle's new dog looks like because it's not the most liked.
yeah, you hate and
I
so
don't.
and
Not me. When I say your uncle, I not me.
yeah, I know the other
I
uncle,
don't
the
have a
dog.
dog.
Um, but like, and then it was saying how like that because hate and divisiveness and misinformation seems to get sensationalized, right? It becomes like the most liked, and so like you're seeing that based on
Right.
what I read. You know,
Yeah, but you might not get you know on your how many they. I'm sure they know what the average scroll rate is, like how far down on
yeah, like
Instagram you go,
yeah, how
how
long you
far
got? Like
down on
yeah,
Facebook you go.
yeah.
Do you go further down on your laptop than you do on your cell phone? I'm sure they have all that information.
Oh, on TikTok, I've never used TikTok once, but on TikTok, I was told that you if you scroll for too long, I don't know, an hour, 2 hours, I don't know what the number is, it was pause. You'd be like, hey, you've been on this too long. You should take a break.
Isn't that sweet?
But like how crazy is that? That's even a thing that people are like, I've just been scrolling and scrolling, and like it's like I said, it's addictive. It said in the article like it's an addictive thing. Like
Yeah,
you're scrolling through one of these platforms is an addictive product.
but I'm sure they know. Like you can scroll forever on Instagram, but I'm sure they know what the average user, how far down it goes. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? How far
probably. Yeah,
down
oh
they
yeah, I'm
scroll.
sure.
I'm sure they know, like the proportion you scroll down on your phone versus the proportion if you're using your laptop or whatever.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
so you might see the most favored and liked thing on Facebook, but you might not know what your cousin in Utah is doing because is that what you were trying to say?
yeah. Exactly. I'm just I'm thinking. I don't know.
The
Like what you're.
original the original concept behind Facebook was friends and family
Yeah, to
on
reconnect to the
on your
people that.
same page
Yeah,
on
yeah,
your
yeah.
yeah all in one place, which was
So
a similar concept in MySpace. You know, I would think most people whatever.
yeah,
But
it was
again, it goes back to these kids you were talking about. These 13-year-olds or whatever with their images and everything else. For years, I've heard the biggest thing was how many likes, how many people follow you, or how many likes did you get on that? You got to
yeah.
put yourself in that mindset, but who the fuck cares, really?
that's that's. I mean, you just said it as best as you can. Who the fuck cares? But people do. Like we're in the minority. I
Especially in
think.
that age group. I'm sure it's very important to them. You had mentioned that in the previous. You have more. You're around them more. I am, but
Oh yeah, like
you
uh,
have more of a say, and you have a more of an idea of what their mindset is.
yes, yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
like being, I think that has a lot to do with the statistics of, not feeling good about yourself when you're on like one of these platforms. And like, let's say I post a picture of me, I don't know, in a new outfit or eating food or whatever people do.
speedos, speedos.
Speedos. Yeah. I
Yeah,
only on Sunday mornings going to church. But, um, like if I post something and let's say like, an hour goes by, there's one like, like a 13-year-old kid, I might feel like a suicidal thought. Nobody likes me. I'm not loved. I'm not whatever.
right.
That's the power of that is
And they wanted
it's
to come out
scary.
with something called Instagram for kids. They got some nerve. Just saying.
Yeah,
But anyway,
I never heard that until you said that today.
oh yeah, it was a thing that was. Make me make believe I'm looking at the camera, and I'll actually be looking at it
Yeah,
on
yeah,
the
like
internet.
yeah, look it up, look it up, look it up, look it up. Get it, get it, get it, get it, get it, get it. right?
Yeah, I was
But
gonna make
like
a
if I had a
joke. I was gonna
7-year-old
make a
child,
joke
and
about. I'm sorry. I was gonna make a joke about talking fast because now we have all the bars on the 5G. But I'm not even sure we're coming in clear
I think
here.
I think this
So
is
the
just the
the
way it's
joke
gonna
would
be,
go
man.
over flat if
It's just the way it's gonna be.
yeah, he got taken on
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
All right, Instagram
Did
kids.
you? Did you?
Instagram kids was the name of the thing.
That's
Um,
for what? For what?
it was for kids. Instagram for kids.
No, I mean like a 7-year-old should be out fucking playing, man. They should be. They shouldn't be
Yeah, well, yeah, but
attached to
this is a whole new market of selling Cheerios to.
a, attached to a screen to hang out with. Like unfortunately, the pandemic. The one thing I
Well,
was
here,
concerned about.
here's. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I just found the
You know
thing.
what? Fuck this, man. I'm out.
This goes back to the end of September. Facebook delays Instagram app for users 13 and younger. The social media giant, this is
Is
from the
that
New
it?
York Times. The social
Yeah.
media
Okay.
giant said it still wanted to build a child focused Instagram product, but would postpone the plans in the face of criticism. So, uh, you know, they're not going to stop, according to that article, but they are putting it on hold for a while. But I think that was the
Yeah,
propellant that made
because
them do all these internal reports that this whistleblower is coming out for. I think so. They
yeah, no,
know
yeah,
it hurts kids, yet they knowingly want to keep doing it because it's very, isn't that the biggest targeted market? Kids. It was when I was a kid.
yeah.
Got
Actually,
advertisers targeted.
seventh and eighth grade. Yeah, seventh and eighth grade is the biggest market you can sell to.
Yeah. So that's that.
Like
Well, that's the
12,
reason
13,
behind
14
them
year
wanting
olds.
to
Yeah.
come up with this thing. That was the reason behind them wanting to come up with this thing.
Yeah. But
So,
it's
so I don't
what
know.
when you get to the point where you can you hear me?
I can hear you. I see your eyes blinking. You said when you get to the point when you,
All right. I don't know. And
I can
I know
still
I thought you were
return.
gonna
I
say
can I can
something.
still
So
send this goddamn
what?
booster thing back. I can still send it back.
Yeah. Anyway, I was just gonna say, it's I guess there's a part of me that's just like, you're like a multi-billion-dollar company and you're still trying to find ways to fucking take more from people. It's like, damn, you
Yeah.
know.
Well, don't forget Facebook is a public company, so they have to answer to shareholders as well as Mark Zuckerberg.
Yeah, they do, but like,
But
I don't know. It's
Zuckerberg
like
owns
Amazon.
over 50% of the company. So
Yeah, but I mean, you're gonna make it public. You're not gonna give up 51%. You're gonna at least have 51%.
the one thing we didn't delve into, which I don't know enough about to even talk about, maybe you do, but was it a coincidence or was it something on purpose that Instagram and Facebook were offline for the day after that testimony? It was actually the day after it was on 60 Minutes. There was a 60-minute thing
They
about
were
the
offline for
whistleblower.
like 6 hours or something, right?
Yeah, longer than that, I
Yeah.
think.
Oh,
Yeah.
longer. Yeah.
And I
Well, I
don't know
mean,
if that's a coincidence. I
well,
don't know.
have they ever been offline before?
I have no idea. I
Yeah.
go
I
on.
mean,
I do still use Facebook, but I go on it like twice a month.
yeah.
But
So
I
I would.
do use it for my business. I'm not going to lie. I use both Instagram and Facebook for my business.
Yeah.
I mean, I
Which
don't
mean.
specifically sell on Facebook or Instagram, but I use it for promotional purposes
Mhm.
for my business. So,
Is it helpful?
yes.
Like greatly or
It's,
just
well, it's helpful for um, exposing products to people who follow you.
gotcha. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
So I mean, that's like
I
the
we,
huge
we
pro,
we
right?
have Michelle. I mentioned to you who runs our social media, so she's constantly posting on Facebook. A lot of people like it when she posts it. That doesn't mean they're buying it, Shawnee boy.
All right, Michelle, could you find a way to sell this shit better? Come on.
But I
Um,
also have a channel, a video channel for my store on YouTube.
yes, I've seen the introductory video. Welcome
Oh
to
yeah.
the, welcome to the antique store. How you do?
Well, actually, I started that when we were forced to shut down last year, which they're gonna have to
Yeah,
shoot me in the head if they want me to shut down again. But when I was shut down for 88 days last year during the COVID thing,
yeah, yeah,
and so I started that as a out of desperation more than anything, just to keep the blood flowing, you know. And there you have
yeah.
it. Don't you be giving me no blanks.
No, I'm I'm listening. I thought you were going to go into a nice little fucking story. I was like,
No,
oh,
I'm
here we
just
go.
saying. I started it as a way to just. Yes, I certainly had time on my hands because we were
Yeah,
shut down.
you had
You know,
88 days.
88 days, a long time to be shut down. I can tell you.
That's how many days the Mets were in first this year. Look at that.
I can't even tell you how many cigarettes I smoked or how many coffees
Oh
I drank.
yeah. Like just the stress of like what the fuck is happening. I would have been if I was smoking, I would have been smoking them out of my nose. Like the straight, like wow, wow.
That reminds me, the ambrosia blew out.
Yeah,
Mm.
you got uh, you got
I'll
two
tell
more
you the
months.
one feature I don't like on Zencaster. You know where I'm
Fuck
going with it.
Zencaster. Fuck it all.
Yeah. No, the one feature I don't like is on Zoom, when we use Zoom,
Yeah,
uh, when you're talking, you fill up the screen, and when I'm talking, my large head fills up the
yeah,
screen.
yeah.
So
Here,
when
what's
I'm, when usually when I'm relighting my ambrosia incense, I have you say a couple of things. Nobody knows I'm relighting the incense.
yeah, yeah. I noticed that this past week when I watched the video. I'm like, oh, we're live together. Like this is, it's not an option. Like it's not an option to put like speaker mode on and whatever.
No, and we're on. Just the both squares are on the thing, and maybe there is. I mean, maybe I just don't know how the hell to do it.
Yeah.
But I looked at the settings, and
The I think I think the first time on Zoom where you put it up parallel and we were both on the screen at the same time. Like you didn't tell me you were going to do that, so there's like a part where I'm like scratching my nose, like picking, thinking that you're talking. I'm like, oh, I'm free right now. I can fucking, I could do something. And I'm
yes,
like,
well,
oh,
we were toying around with toying, but we did commit to Zoom financially, but we can
yeah,
uncommit real easy.
yeah. That's they're,
But
they're not like they're not like Facebook. You can quit and just leave.
yeah. Well,
You know,
even if I deleted my Facebook account, there'll still be my name with a gray head there.
it's still there. Yeah, no, like
Yeah.
so. The first time I had Facebook was in 2011 or 12, and I'm like, this is stupid, and I quit, and I left it, and it took me, like no lie, like, are you sure? Yes, but you're never gonna see this guy again. Are you sure? Yes. Like it was like 8 to 10. It was just like this. I'm like, what the like? What am I
You're still
leading
on
here?
there. You're still
Yeah, yeah.
on there though.
No, so I didn't. I looked. No, so then when I came back in like 2015 or something, my account was just sitting there. So I was like, oh,
Ready for
like
you to reactivate. Oh, he'll be
yeah,
back.
yeah. Like I'm like, oh, they've never like took me off. I've never left. Like it's all bullshit. So
Mark
this last
Zuckerberg
time, I'm
was
like,
sitting back in his chair, twiddling his
oh yeah.
thumbs and saying,
He's like,
Sean will be
how
back.
do I fucking algorithm this guy? So this time I just deleted the shit from my phone, so I just don't think about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Believe it or not, we spent 50 minutes talking about that, which is 49 minutes more than I knew about the subject.
Blow that
But
whistle.
yeah, the whistleblower. But I wanted to touch on just a little bit because we also discussed this last week. You were talking about 4,000 New York City teachers were fired for not getting the vaccine.
Yep.
And I was just reading this morning, couple of hundred people in Boston got fired, city workers in Boston,
It's in
and
Boston now too.
it's everywhere, man.
No, I thought I didn't.
Former Vice President Joe Biden is the one that started this thing.
The
If you have a
mandates
hundred,
for
if you have a company with 100 or more employees, um, you have to force them to get vaccinated or something to that effect.
So, I thought it was just New York and California, but all right. Okay. No,
As
I meant
far as I
like,
know, well, he's the one that mentioned it in the press conference when he
okay.
does a rare, he doesn't talk to the press, but
Yeah, I haven't. I forgot Joe Biden was even president, man. To be honest with you, like it's like, is it? Not really paying attention to him.
is he? Look at my face.
He
Is he?
no, he's definitely the. Yeah, obviously he's the president, but
Is
I don't
he?
know.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know.
He
Maybe he's
definitely
not.
was the vice president. I'm going to go to my death believing that he was vice president once.
Okay. Now,
But I will say the one thing that annoys me about that is they go, you know, I guess it's easy fruit or low picking fruit to get people on the city payroll, whatever city you're doing it in, like the teachers. Even though they, as you said, they have a teacher shortage now.
they do.
Even all the nut job teachers they have in the rubber room, they can't throw them out into the field no more.
No, but I heard they were thinking about actually putting them in sub positions, but I don't know how true that is.
Mm. And the fact that they were still on the payroll, but that's I'm not getting involved in your union, man. They're tough. But anyway, um, can't fire a teacher. But anyway, uh,
Actually, that's not true. That's not true. You can't fire a tenured teacher unless they fuck up.
yeah.
But you could
Well,
fire like I've
that
seen.
that bar where you fuck up is like way the hell over your head. Like you really have to jump a high bar for them to consider
Yeah,
that.
yeah. There's a security blanket you
And
definitely
there's a
have when.
whole protocol to get them out once they
Oh,
do.
well, because I'm entitled to counsel through the union. You know, I'm entitled to all
Yes, I
that
love
stuff.
your union. I'm not saying another word. But anyway,
You don't like our union?
I love your union. I'm not saying another word.
Yeah.
But anyway, I was wondering if you had heard anything more about your union and where they stand on this thing.
So since we talked about, I kind of poked around. They didn't fight back.
So
All
they
right, so
must be
I
in
don't
agreement
really.
with the policy.
Yes, I mean, and then there wasn't some huge.
But if you look
Uh,
at the demographics of the unvaccinated people, uh, there's over 60 million of them in the country. You would
all right,
think,
that's 250 million people. That's not bad.
yeah, well, whatever. But anyway,
I'm just half cup, half cup, cups half full.
cup say full. But anyway, you never see them come out and say, if you're on unemployment and you refuse to get vaccinated, you could jeopardize your unemployment. Or if you're
Is that
receiving
true?
welfare and you refuse to get vaccinated, you may jeopardize your welfare payments. You'd never hear them threatening those two demographics.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah, yeah. I haven't heard that, and I'm guessing that wouldn't happen,
They'll
right?
go after somebody who's employed, and I'm sure there's out of those 4,000 teachers, there was quite a hell of a lot of them that were good teachers, right?
Yes. Here's so, and I don't know how true this is, but I keep hearing there's shortages of this. There's not enough workers for that, and and they just keep firing people from different fucking places. You're just like, I don't get it.
Well,
Like
remember
that.
we were talking about the lack of critical thinking in this country,
Yeah.
and whether that's an education related problem or not. I'm not well versed enough to know, but it seems like it is. Um, I think that's fundamental critical thinking. Why don't you, when you have a certain proportion of the country, and you can almost label them like who is not getting the vaccinations. Why would you go after the employed before you went after the unemployed or people who are getting government subsidies?
That's a good point.
I'm just saying. No one's
Nah,
threatened anybody on welfare. No one's threatened anybody on unemployment. I don't believe they should be threatening people on welfare or on unemployment either if they decide they don't want a vaccine. You know, they shouldn't be. This is America, right? But you shouldn't be threatening or in your profession's case firing people because they choose to not have the vaccine.
one of my very good
And
friends.
why are they targeted before? I'm just saying, why is the people that work for a living being targeted first or at all?
Why are well, I would guess like the teachers were one of the first targeted because they're around kids. That's probably the argument, but I don't know for sure.
But
Um,
that doesn't explain the healthcare workers that were fired in the state of New York.
yeah, right. You're absolutely right.
Well over a
The
thousand of them that were fired. And again, we mentioned this in the last podcast. This is where we talked about the lack of critical thinking in this country. Why are people in the healthcare industry not getting vaccinated?
Yeah, that's a little like after we talked about it last week. I was just like, I someone else has mentioned that before, and not a couple, maybe a month ago or something. But I was just like, yeah, like why isn't like people who are around medicine, people who are around the vaccination concept, like they're the first ones. They're talking to doctors. They're getting the back. Some of them are getting the behind the scenes scoop, right? You would assume, and yet like not all of them are getting it. You're like, okay, all right.
See, your rationale about, well, teachers are around kids, trying to stay in the middle of this, I can say, trying to stay down the middle on this, I can say, um, that's a fairly decent rationale. But when you
Yeah,
couple
like
it with the other professions that are getting fired because they're not getting vaccinated, then it makes you wonder why certain people are being targeted and certain people are not.
yeah, like it's to target.
And all of the people coming in, I don't even want to get into the border thing. Are they vaccinating them fucking people? I'm just asking, just a question. They're getting
Like
vaccinated.
who?
These people that are pouring over our border
Ah,
every day.
oh, yeah. I have no idea.
You
I'm
know,
sure.
just saying.
I'm sure.
Maybe they are. Maybe I'm
Yeah,
overreacting. Maybe they're getting vaccinated.
I'm sure not
I
all of
don't
them.
think so.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
sure not all of them. It just kind of clicked in my head. To answer your question, so our union, right?
Hmm.
Maybe they're not being vocal. It's because a new mayor is about to be sworn in 2 or 3 months, and the new mayor is, and we want to be our union always supports the Democratic mayor, and if the guy that you like is the Democratic mayor, maybe he's pro mandate, and we want to be on his good side, so he takes care of us 3 years down the road, whatever the number is, right? So I don't know. That just kind of
It's
popped in my
funny.
head.
It's funny you said that. I'm not even sure what
I think he's the
his.
Dem.
No, I know he's a Democrat.
Yeah,
I'm not sure what his stance is on forcible vaccinations.
yeah. That's an interesting thing. So De Blasio is going out with a fucking bang, huh? He's pretty much just like dragging everyone behind a horse. Fuck it. I'm just gonna You're
No,
just like,
Eric Adams. I'm not sure where he stands on
yeah.
forcible vaccinations.
Well, so because De Blasio is going
I
like
still hope he wins. I just don't know where he stands on that.
it's going to be interesting in January because let's say he lifts the mandate. Now all of a sudden, all these teachers that are standing put can come back. The basketball player Kyrie Irving for the Nets, he's not getting vaccinated, so he's not allowed to play this year.
Right.
But he's going to get paid half his salary, which is bananas. But anyway, um, right. So it's I don't know.
Maybe
It's an
maybe in one maybe in one neither one of us know the answer, but it's just it gets back to critical thinking. You just got to ask questions.
yes.
When things don't bounce around your stomach well, like this doesn't sit right with me. Got to ask a question every once in a while.
Here's a question I keep asking people. No one gives me what is like the percentage of people dying from this now?
I don't know.
Is it
It,
is it
it,
like
it,
extreme?
I don't know. Neither one of us follow the news. That's half our problem.
Yeah. But like I'm just gonna keep it within like the world that I live in and the people like I don't know anyone who's like I know people who are getting COVID, and I'm not saying people aren't dying. I like if there
Well,
are that's
I know that if you've been inoculated, your chances of dying from
very
it are are lower than if you didn't get
Yeah.
inoculated. Let's
Suppo-
see. In the United States, there's a total of 2.49 million cases, and out of that, 55,402 deaths. This is, or maybe it's New York specific. It's just New York. I'm sorry. I just
yeah,
typed it in
that's
on me.
for over the course of the whole damn thing, though.
Yeah,
So, but I want to know the numbers. Not that you have to find them right now, but since the vaccination came out, what are the numbers?
nationwide.
Yeah, like I mean, the
Well, New
first
York,
six.
the total deaths are 55,402. That apparently has been attributed to COVID, which
Since
is
the beginning.
which is the point of another podcast. What's being counted as a COVID death? And,
Oh Jesus! Since the
yeah,
beginning, though, since the March of 2020.
this is what the World Wide Web is telling me. Yes,
Okay, yeah. All
yeah,
right. I know.
cases 2.5.
I mean, that's yeah. I mean, that's a ton of people. That's the
But
same.
this is for New York, though, Sean. This is and they
Yeah,
break it down by county.
that's a lot of
Um,
people.
yeah, almost half are from New York City. Um,
Yeah,
More
but
than
like,
half of the deaths were in New York City.
how
So
many
out of
were in the?
well, that statewide was 55,402 as of today is what the 14th, and out of the 55,402, 34,434 were in the five boroughs.
Okay, how many? How I want to know is how many have been dying. What's the number since this year? Like because the first 6 months was like extreme. At least they made it seem like it was extreme. You know,
The death rate, yeah. Hmm.
you know what I'm saying? So like, let's say of the 55,000, the first 8 months, 35 to 40,000 died. So over this past year, 15,000 people are dying from COVID. You know, in the scheme of things, that's not a big number. Is what I'm trying to get at.
Right. Well, this is Johns Hopkins had a chart that I followed during the shutdown.
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
followed
During
it.
your 88 day smoke break.
Yeah, I followed it very closely at the time, but I haven't watched it in a long, I haven't watched it in a long time. But the death rate, case fatality rate, is what Johns Hopkins refers to it as, is 1.6% in the United States.
Okay, that's pretty high. All right.
1.6. So is a total nationwide of 44,683,014 cases.
Okay.
Um, and out of that, this is just the United States, 719,525 deaths.
Wow, okay. That's a lot.
Yeah. Well, there's another argument behind those stats, which I'm not going to get into because I
Yes.
don't
No.
know.
Yeah. About what like
Do
what's
you have a
labeled
heart attack?
COVID.
If you were COVID positive and you had a heart attack, that kind of thing. But
Yeah, it got labeled COVID. Yeah.
yeah, and that's semantical in my opinion. But anyway, 1% is a pretty well. It's not 1% of the population either. It's 1% of the positive cases. So
Okay.
if you go take the whole population and the amount of deaths, it's probably,
Point zero something.
I would say, a hell of a lot less than 1%. So, but it is what it is.
The did
The other
didn't you?
thing that I always found suspect is the lack of flu cases last year.
Oh, the flu doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah. So, but people forget Corona is a flu. It's in
Yes.
it's in that same family. So
Yes. The no, it's just made me think of. No, it always made me laugh during this whole process. Like when they reopen restaurants, they're like, "Well, if you're walking through a restaurant, you gotta have your mask on because you get corona. But if you sit at your table, you can't get corona."
yeah, well, I heard in New York City you have to show proof that you've been vaccinated to sit in a restaurant.
Yeah, if and not every restaurant. Hopefully, this doesn't get too far out there. No one's gonna
I
listen to
mean,
this.
you don't want to lose your liberty over this.
That's what. Yeah, like that's what I was saying before about Facebook and controlling speech. Now we're like, if you don't have it's the vaccinated versus the non-vaccinated. Like you get to do certain things, and it's just like a form
I
of
just found out
control.
today you can't go to a football game if you haven't been vaccinated.
Yeah, it's a form of control. Whether you see it as not threatening or threatening, like but it is a form of control.
It makes me worried. Yeah, I mean, if I've been vaccinated and I'll get the booster. I think I told you that already when it's available for me. I had Moderna. I have no problem with the vaccination, but I'd rather die of corona than lose my freedom. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I thought about it. I'm not going to get the booster unless they mandate it. I'm not getting like why? I'm healthy. Like I'm. See, I've been around. I've been in public and around people pretty much since the get. And I'm not saying that I'm not capable of getting COVID, but like like I'm just gonna keep living my life, man.
Yeah, you take whatever necessary precautions.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. I'm not, if someone's
And
coughing, I'm
and
not sure.
and we all, as all of us, we know more now than we did 18 months ago, right?
Yeah, I
So
guess.
I mean, you're not washing your hands till they're raw now. 8 times a day, you're washing your hands.
No, I be honest with you, I don't even do that anymore.
Yeah. Well, you got to shower at least once a week, Sean.
Yeah, well, no, I shower every day, and I mean, wash my hands a couple of times. I'm use the bathroom or something. But like the what the hell's it called? What the hell's
Well,
it
back
called?
last year, there was, you didn't know what the hell was going on.
Oh
You
yeah,
every time you got
every
every time you got to your apartment, you're washing your
yeah.
hands.
Every time I touched the doorknob, I ran back and
Yeah,
washed my
that
hands.
kind of thing. So
But what's that called? Fucking the hand sanitizer. They're all around. They're in every classroom. They're like one in a hallway. There's one in my office, etc., etc. And
I got one in my store, all around the
I
store.
I just don't even use them anymore. And I'm
Well,
not
because
trying to be
people,
like,
this is a retail store, so people do come in and touch things.
yeah. I mean, I'm not trying to be seen like sound like some
If they're
hotshot.
coming in or going out and they throw the hand sanitizer on it, well, it's not going to hurt anything.
No, it's not. But like, I just don't even think about it anymore. I've just moved on from it. I think subconsciously, I'm just like, I'm good. You know.
Yeah, well, yeah. I think a lot of people, when the vaccines came out, or let's put it this way, when the vaccines became prevalent in the population, a lot of people said, "All right, let's go back to life."
Yeah. Well, that's kind of another reason why when I got
I haven't
vaccinated.
changed my mindset from that, by the way. Once I got my second shot, I was like, let's move on with life here.
Yeah.
And if I get COVID and die, I get COVID and die. But you start moving down a slippery slope where you can't go here and you can't go there. You know,
Yeah, that's a dangerous uh slippery. You said slippery slope. That's a dangerous place to be. You know,
yeah.
maybe not today, but
There are people, and I'm not going to commit to this theory, but there are people who think that this country has been deliberately dumbed down over the last 30 years so they can be controlled like they're being controlled now. I don't subscribe to that, but
yeah, but
there
there,
are a lot of people who believe that. And
yeah. I mean, and there definitely are signs that support it and not support it. Like it.
yeah, there's signs that don't support it either.
Yeah. You know about
But
Australia, right? I mean, that's the example right now.
what, the kangaroo down here? What happened?
You don't know what's going on in Australia?
No.
The
I barely, I barely know what's going on in New York.
they mandated people like to a 3 mile radius
To do what?
to live.
To what?
They need permission. Like everyone's tracked through their phones, and if let's say for example, you can YouTube it. You YouTube it when we get off. I saw a video my buddy showed me. A mother was walking with her baby in her arms, but she didn't have a mask on.
Uh-huh.
Right, the Australian police forcefully took her while her baby was in her arm to like put a mask on her. Like you see, like they're pinning people down to put masks on them.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, these are some videos I saw, and like it's a mandate that like you have to stay within a certain radius of your house. You can only go like to get food, and yeah, like it's like a
Well, now I'm going
like
back to that Johns Hopkins chart. I just want to see where
that's I'm talking about Australia, and this is where you're going. All right,
I want to look. Where I want to see what their death rate is in Australia.
Oh,
See
okay.
if all the bullshit they're throwing at the people is working or
Yeah,
not.
I got you. And there's a lot of riots, and that's another thing. There's a lot of riots going on, um, in like Australia and all in places, and the media is just not showing it.
No,
So,
media's not showing it in this country either,
yep.
but it's
So,
happening.
yep.
Uh, you know what? Maybe I could put this in.
You doing some research right now?
I wish they could
All
put it
right.
in alphabetical
Okay.
order. It would make my
Okay.
life a hell of a lot easier. I don't even know what the hell order this is in.
Well, anyway, the Australian thing, I'm not an expert on it, but I just know enough that there's the mask versus non-mask, and the police are,
Oh
you
yeah,
know,
you can do it in alphabetical order.
the police and the government are using force to kind of force people to live a certain way, and that's scary.
How many
That's a
people live there? Because there's only been 136,000 cases. I'm
well,
probably
it's
not
a
fair to judge.
it's an
You
island.
know,
It's secluded. It's
yeah, but
it's
only 1,496 deaths,
at,
1.1% ratio.
so yeah, it's less than us, and they're living a lot more extreme.
Well, here I didn't realize there's another column which they give you the deaths per 100,000 population, which is probably a
Okay.
better gauge.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Australia's 5.9, 5.9 deaths per 100,000. Just want to see what the U.S. is before I. In the U.S., it's 219.21 per 100,000. So we got a hell of a lot higher rate per
Yeah,
100,000 than Australia does.
yeah.
I'm surprised they let themselves get to that state.
Yeah, I think it's
You
mostly
know,
it's more on the eastern side, like by Sydney and like that coast instead of like the in the western side. But I'm not an expert on it. I've only touched on it a little bit. But
well, I'll
yeah,
have to read up on it. I didn't even know anything about it.
it's it's we're going on 2 years. There's a vaccine out, and we're still you know I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe I just didn't expect it to be this long, but who knows?
yeah. Well, thanks for depressing the crap out of me.
I'm not depressed at all. It is what it is. Like we're just talking about it. What are you gonna do?
No,
Tomorrow I'm gonna wake up.
we're not used to having extended, serious conversation about anything.
Yeah, but
So
the reality.
maybe I'm
I think
distracted by the internet to take it lighter, but whatever.
I think sometimes I forget that like the world of the pandemic and COVID. It's still like controlling it. Like it's winning right now. Still, it's still like a part of our lives. It's like damn.
Well, it will be until it's not. And
Yeah,
let's hope it's not sooner rather than later.
yeah. Gets old.
Um, in an attempt to add on a lighter note, let's. I was telling you about this chat thing. I don't know if you can. I hope you can't read it publicly. I think it's something that allows you to talk to the person that you're podcasting with without, to send notes. So can you read
Yeah,
that note?
yeah. I'm trying to figure out what. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Yeah,
Yeah. I knew you had to say because you're Shawnee boy. You're gonna have to say something back. Okay.
yeah.
All right, Shawnee boy. Well, you had what'd you say? You had 400 friends that were going to comment on the last video. I think we got one guy, and he
I got one.
didn't even use his real name.
I got 1 out of 4. That's not bad. And then
That's not bad. It's a
a
lower
second
rate than the
guy,
COVID.
a second guy was a second guy's like, I want to comment on Spotify, but I don't know how to do it. So I was like, I'm like, all right, man. I
Well,
do want,
I'm glad he doesn't know how to do it because I don't know how to read them on
yeah.
Spotify.
I want to give a shout out to my boy, the guy who left the comment. He's the one that
You
got me
don't use
the.
his real name because he used an alias, right?
Yeah, I'm not gonna say his name.
Right.
He got me for my birthday. He got me a podcast light, and I think it's helped greatly. So I appreciate it.
Yes. Yes, I can see you clear as a bell, except that you're blurry, and I can
Yeah,
see the sharp light in the back, except it's blurry.
yeah, it's golden, golden. That's my trademark is the light on the back.
That's how your neighbors know you're podcasting. So they keep it down in the neighborhood.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
All right,
All right.
Shawnee boy. Well, we'll talk to you in the near
Yeah.
future.
One more
And
time.
yes, anybody was wondering why we haven't had any guests, we're doing an experiment, a transitional experiment. So
Yeah.
we decided to keep it between Shawnee boy and myself, whilst we figure out the nooks and crannies of this new thing.
Yes.
Once he and I are both. Oh no! Now you're bright.
I know. I don't know what the hell just happened.
Yeah.
Let me see.
Listen, by the
Yeah.
time you're 44, figure that out, will you?
Yeah. 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 I don't know what just I threw
Once
I
we
threw the
get
paper.
confident, once we get confident that we have number one, good Wi-Fi, and number two, good communication on this new platform, we'll start having people back
Yeah. Yeah.
again. All right,
All right.
but we fill up an hour pretty damn good. I
Yeah. I
gotta
just looked
say,
up. It's an hour and 15. That's
yeah,
impressive.
yeah, it's impressive. As unless you have to sit here and listen
Yeah.
to it,
It's one of those. It's one of those like you get to this point. You're like, what the fuck did we talk about tonight?
I have no idea. Something about
What did we say?
something about vaccines, and
I don't know.
I don't know.
Whistle blow my ass. All right.
Yeah. All right, Shawnee boy, we'll talk to you. We're getting there.
All right, T.
Each time is a little bit better. And you hang out. Don't forget the duck. All right.
All right.
All right.